Scheibe called police and accused Zimmerman of threatening her with a gun and pushing her out of her Apopka, Florida home during an argument.
If she's pregnant, I'm not going to put her through that kind of stress.
The victim has disclosed to us that she is not pregnant.
I kept yelling, help, help, help.
Breaking news just in. Teflon George does it again. Florida prosecutors announcing moments ago they will not charge George Zimmerman in that domestic dispute with his girlfriend last month that we were all talking about. You remember Samantha Scheibe called 911 saying George Zimmerman had broken a table with his gun and had also pointed it at her. He was arrested on suspicion of aggravated assault, battery, and criminal mischief. But since then, the girlfriend has had a big change of heart. She told investigators, never mind. Forget about it. I don't want to charge him. And without her cooperation, they've concluded there is no case. Wow, what a difference a month makes. Listen to her 911 call on that fateful day.
No, this is not. Okay. I'm doing this again? You just broke my glass table. You just broke my sunglasses, and you put your gun in my freaking face and told me to get the out because this is not your house. No, get out of here.
She sounds pretty upset, doesn't she? Well, now she says she was misinterpreted and may have misspoken. She even accused investigators of pressuring her, something the sheriff's department denies. Now, George Zimmerman's arrest, as we all know, just 4 months after being found not guilty in the death of Trayvon Martin, the unarmed teen who was coming home with Skittles and soft drink when he was gunned down by George Zimmerman, the former neighborhood watchman. Since then, George has had a slew of run-ins with cops. You remember, of course, the nasty fight he had with his estranged wife, Shelley. How? Jasmyne Cannick, race and politics critic, does he keep avoiding legal consequences?
I don't know. It's almost like he has a friend somewhere looking out for him, isn't it? But I think that we will see him get in some more trouble, and hopefully when that happens, he will suffer some consequences. I'm clear. I don't believe the girlfriend. I think the girlfriend is just trying to backtrack right now. We've seen that before in other domestic violence situations. And like we've seen in other domestic violence situations, it might happen again. It probably will happen again, and we'll see what happens, if they'll be able to ignore it again.
Well, during his arraignment last month, the prosecutor had some really shocking revelations. Listen to what the prosecutor said about George Zimmerman, his mental state, and his relationship with his girlfriend.
The victim had indicated that there was a prior domestic violence incident that occurred approximately a week and a half ago that involved a choking that she did not report to the police. She is in fear for her safety on the day of this incident. She had indicated that they had been discussing breaking up. He's also has mentioned suicide in the recent past due to those factors, and the defendant indicating at the time he was threatening to commit suicide, he had nothing to lose.
Wow, Wendy Walsh, psychologist, nothing to lose, suicidal, that's what I call a real catch. What the heck?
Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about this relationship and what can happen in domestic violence cases like this. It's very common for the police to try to get victims of domestic violence to testify and be involved in the trial. But honestly, once you're cooled down and you're feeling safe, Jane, a lot of those women just want to be as far away from that guy as possible, and to go through what they would have to go through in court would be another injury to them. As for this relationship,
let me jump in. Let me jump in for 1 second,
yeah.
Because she has said, according to an affidavit, she wants to get back together with him. She's asked for the restraining order to be thrown out so that they can be together.
Jane,
well, just finish your thought, Wendy. You're saying that's part of the cycle?
Domestic violence is a very complicated thing, Jane, and it's really important that we not blame the victim here, but do talk about how the two work part and parcel. It starts off with violence. It often ends after the violence in an amazing honeymoon phase. So it's sort of warm fuzzies and cold pricklies, and it's very hard to distance yourself, especially if you're wired to be attracted to that kind of thing.
John Lieberman.
But Jane, one thing we haven't addressed is this. The moment the charges were dropped, George Zimmerman can now possess guns again. He now doesn't have a GPS tracker on him, and of course he doesn't have a stay-away order from this woman.